Go ahead, bro.
Perfect. Well, good evening, fellas. Man, I really appreciate again the opportunity. Brother Roberto Mauricio and Brother Ronnie being so diligent and uh, keeping this uh, thing going, for starting it. Love you guys, man, for being who you are. Appreciate each and every one of you guys here to hear what the word what God has to speak to us today. Um, Tell you this message that I'm going to share today uh, really hit me like a ton of bricks when I read it, because, and just so happens this last week when a week before last when I was asked to share, um, I was just thinking about my life, and yeah, I do pretty well with a lot of things in life, but I find myself not moving in a fashion that I should move sometimes. So the message comes from Matthew 14. And I went back, did some digging in Matthew 14, and obviously Matthew's the author. He was also known as Levi. He was a tax collector. So when I think about that, I think about God just using anything, because tax collectors weren't the most well thought of people in the community. Um, and God, of course, God and we know chooses those that don't really look like the prototypical Christian, right? Um, then this particular gospel is and was known as one of the most impactful gospels that there is. It was written specifically for Jews, or primarily for Jews, and there's a lot of references really talking about the promises of Jesus, the Messiah showing up, um, and how these individuals waited centuries and centuries. There's a lot of good information here, and so really and truly, I went the focus is going to be Matthew 25, 14 through 30, and it's widely known as the parable of the talents. Um, and so I'll give y'all a bit of that really quickly, and then we'll talk about it. So it reads as follows. For the kingdom of heaven is as a man traveling in a far country, who called his own servants and delivered unto them his goods. And unto one he gave 5 talents, to another two, and to another one. To every man according his his abilities. And straightway took his journey. Then he who had received the 5 talents went and traded with the same, and made them other 5 talents. And likewise, he who had received 2, he also gained another 2. But he who had received 1 went and digged in the earth and hid his Lord's money. After a long time, the Lord of those servants cometh and reckoneth with them. And so he who had received 5 talents came and brought other 5 talents, saying, Lord, you delivered unto me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained beside them 5 talents more. His Lord said unto him, Well done, thou good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a few. I will make you ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of your Lord. He also, who had received 2 talents, came and said, Lord, you delivered unto me 2 talents. Behold, I've gained 2 other talents beside them. His Lord said unto him, Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a few. I will make you ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of your Lord. Then he which had received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I know you, and that you are a hard man, reaping where you have not sown, and gathering where you have not planted. And I was afraid and went and hid your talent in the earth. Lo, there you have that which is yours. His Lord answered and said unto him, You wicked and slothful servant, you knew that I reap where I sowed not, and gather where I have not planted. You ought therefore to have put my money to the exchangers, and then at my coming I should have received my own with usury. Take therefore the talent from him, and give it unto him which has 10 talents. But unto everyone who has shall be given, and has and he shall have abundance. But from him who has not shall be taken away even that which he has. And cast ye the unprofitable servant into the outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And I want to speak to you today, guys, from the topic in hell for stealing time and conserving talents or gifts. So obviously we see here our God comes. He's showing us that, look, we need to take care of business. He's showing that he invests in us. He's showing that he gives resources. He's showing that he wants us to use those resources and or talents in a proper way. And he wants us to act on it before he uses somebody else. First couple things, man. First thing I see here is he's watching you and giving you based upon what your ability is. Now, when you look at this, again, you see our God. He shows up. He shows up into a town of his people. All right. So he's paying attention to you even when you think he's not. And he gives, or he shares these resources based upon the ability of the individual, not who they hang out with, not because your friend is doing good and I'm hanging out with them and I'm playing like I'm doing good, like Brother Roberto and I, like we were talking about clothing earlier. But because I got the same shirt Roberto has on, and I'm overextending myself because Roberto spent 24 and I got one made, or I got it out the dollar store or wherever store I got it from. Just because I'm trying to keep up with Roberto doesn't make me, doesn't show him that I have the same abilities. Then we also look at, obviously, I believe the level of faith that God also knew we had. I think this is a test of the faith. The ability to show what you got. That's really and truly what it is. He gives you enough to show what you got. You know, we over and over again, people recite the scripture, God will never give you any more than you can handle. And we think of it from the standpoint most times that he's not going to give you more stress, more pain, more, he's not going to allow more illness, not going to allow more responsibilities, more tasks than you can handle. But he's also not going to give you more resources, riches, abundance, if he does not believe that you can take care of it and multiply it. Now, number two is when you get the resources, put them to work. When should we put them to work? Immediately, based upon your ability. Procrastinating is not allowed. It's funny, man. I was Pastor Terry, when he spoke this past weekend, he alluded to this procrastination thing. This thing that, you start in this particular job, you start in this particular business, industry, and you see yourself doing well in it, but you don't take that class. You don't apply for that particular promotion. You don't go and talk to the manager about, hey, look, I think I'm ready for some more responsibility. Um, and next thing you know, somebody who actually was hired after you comes in and get that position. And now we upset because they shouldn't have got it. I've been here. Well, maybe you wasn't prepared, and you didn't show yourself prepared, uh, which is obviously an indication of what they believe that your ability is. And then, of course, again, did you procrastinate about getting those things done? We are dealing with something right now with one of my coworkers. She's been working in the same position for the last 23 years. Um, and over this 23 years, there's been multiple classes that she could have taken, but she didn't take them, and now she can't get certain promotions that they want to give her because she hasn't taken them. And recently, they told her she can have the promotion if she goes in and takes 19 civil service classes. Now that's amazingly funny to me, because if she would have taken just one a year, she would have been way ahead of the game. Um, but lack not procrastinating shows appreciation. It shows you appreciating the opportunity. It also shows that you're an opportunity grabber. When new assignments come up, are you grabbing those new assignments and making yourself uh solidified as in a person who could be counted on? And it shows that you have pride in the job that you can do, and pride working for the company. Not that you are proud that you're more better than anybody, but you're a team player, right? So then we see after God is giving the resources, expecting them to take care of them, uh, also expect them to go out and use them, and then we see that they don't. Um, you see that Jesus comes back, right? You see God comes back. God comes back, and He wants it's accountability time. Basically, it's judgment day, and so you have this come to Jesus moment. Hey, the boss is back. He's been on vacation. And so now the boss is like, hey, look, I gave some assignments out. Have we taken care of these assignments? What have you done with what it is that I gave you? And again, like, if you remember, God is not in a habit of addition and subtraction. He's in a habit of multiplying and duplicating. That's the discipleship principles, right? So in this, he says, well done to those who have duplicated and multiplied. My good and faithful servant. You were faithful over a few things. Now, faithfulness doesn't require us to obviously bury things, put them underneath our mattress, hide them in our Bible, and hopefully they duplicate in our Bible. He really wants us to use the gifts and talents that we have. I will make you ruler over many. Enter into the joy of our Lord. Now that's what I think all of us are waiting to hear. We're definitely waiting to hear that. And that's why I believe, man, each and every one of us on this line, and even those who haven't shown up today that we know who's normally here, I believe that we are in the right place at the right time, and we're doing the right thing. Well done, good and faithful servant. We want to hear that. You were faithful over a few things. I will make you rule over many. Enter into the joy of your Lord. And number 4, last but not least, I'm closing. Those who go to work immediately will be rewarded with abundance. Those who don't will suffer tremendously. That's the word. Thank you, guys.